everyone, this is Denise Love, and I have been so book inspired since making the artisanal journals workshop that I have created a second book workshop to kind of continue the fun. And the second workshop is called From Scrap to Treasure, Creating Unique Art Journals. And I thought today that I could show you what the journals are, and then we could paint in one and get it started. So after I finished the artisanal journals workshop, where I made the lovely inspired book with the different pages with the burlap and the canvas, very reminiscent of the Dina Wakley journal that has been discontinued, then I thought, you know, I want another one of these books because these are so fun to make and I love them so much. You don't even imagine the joy you get when you flip through these pages and you see all the beautiful things in the book that you created. And this one is still tight because I haven't opened it and played in it. But this one I decided, instead of using pages like burlap and canvas as some of our and craft paper as some of our pages, I would use some of the papers that I have spent years collecting. So this one has watercolor paper in it and beautiful handmade papers. And the beautiful thing about the handmade papers is they can be left just like they are, so you actually have some pages that could possibly be already finished, or you could, you know, paint or collage on them or on the back of them to whatever that you would like to do. And so this is the one that I made for myself after making that workshop. And then I thought, oh, this is such a good idea, and I didn't mention it in that last workshop, that how cool would it be if I went ahead and filmed a second workshop and continued making some lovely books. So in the second workshop, we're creating this one, which has one extra signature than what I did in the one that I had made for myself, and it has more papers in it. And look at how juicy and delicious the side looks when you just look at it from this direction. So you can see I've got all kinds of fun, yummy stuff in here, and then I've got it closed off with a beautiful ribbon, handmade paper on the cover, and then lots of watercolor paper, and then more of the papers that I have collected. You know, I've gone to the art store for years and I bought these pretty papers, and I thought one day I'm going to do something amazing with these. And no kidding, I've probably had some of these for 7 or 8 years with that thing in mind. And whatever that idea, that amazing thing that was going to come to me that I was going to use these papers on, it really took a long time for that idea to come to me. So some of these papers I've truly had for years, and this is the project that they were all waiting for. And you can see how gorgeous these are. In this one, I actually even included one of the abstract paintings that we have painted together, and I even had somebody say, I don't know, are you considering that finished? And you know, a lot of times when I make the YouTube videos, it could be finished for that day and I could be coming back to it later and doing something with it. Or it could be actually finished and I never revisit it again, or it could be so beautiful I frame it and hang it in my house. But this was one of those that I love the colors. I've worked with it a couple times, and I thought this painting needs to go in the book. And as a page here with the paper next to it, it is finished. And that's a tall painting, so there is another side. So the other side backs up to the other side of that paper. And I love it so much that now I'm like, okay, this is going to be, you know, a large abstract painting book, and, you know, backed up to the handmade paper. This one, I think I'm probably going to leave with the handmade paper like it is, and then this one I could collage on it, or add a pocket, or add a tuck or a flip out, or I could do something with it. So it's just so many ideas now that I have got this book. And this book has 5 signatures because I wanted it extra thick, whereas this one had 4 signatures. But look at all the yumminess going on in those books. So I'm super excited for you to expand your art journals further past the original inspiration that I had and really personalize it with some beautiful stuff. And then we also cover some other books in this class that I think you're going to find really cool. So this one is a vintage portfolio that had an old photograph in it that I took the old photo out in class and turned it into the cover of a art book. And it's beautiful because it's got this lovely kind of design here on the front. I don't know if you can even see it, but it's actually really lovely. And as a cover to an art book, it's super cool. And so it didn't bother me a bit to take the photo out of it. And if that's one of the things that you're like, no, don't take the picture out, then buy some of these with the pictures not in it, and then you don't have to take the picture out of it. But I'm going to use the picture for something else eventually, so it didn't bother me. And on the inside, I have put a lovely pocket envelope here, and that's so cool because then we could slip a little piece of art in that and save it, or we could put a letter in there, or you could do all kinds of stuff with little pockets and tuck places in your art journals. And so I thought that would be a fun additive there to the front cover, and I might do something above it. I don't know. This is kind of the base of an art book that I'll then continue creating in. And then I also included different types of paper in here. So this is the runoff from one of our stencils that we use to paint in our bigger book. So that was cool. So keep your different deli papers and runoff. Those are nice kind of completed pages, or we continue adding to it. A fun little small folder, and then some handmade paper and some watercolor paper, and then I included a piece of art that we had painted at some point in one of our videos, and just it was probably one that I've cut stuff out of because it wasn't a full piece, and I thought, ooh, fun. And I like that the pages offset in this book, and this is another runoff page from our stencil, and then I put an old letter in here, and then a watercolor paper for us to paint, and then these are attached with, I think this is called the pamphlet stitch, but it's a very, very simple 3-hole stitch that you can put together smaller journals and have just something fun in an interesting cover with pages that you can continue to add to and work on. So this is a rather delightful book. And then I glued on the back cover here a beautiful palette page. And then that is such a fun little art book to work on and add to later. And then a fun ribbon and grommet there to tie it off. So we learned how to make that in class, and then we also learned how to make a art journal with an old book cover. So this is the actual cover of a book that I have then decorated with some lovely lace, and then I've tucked in some lovely little color palettes and just some interesting tidbits for the front there. We've topped it with a velvet ribbon and tied that off. And on the inside, we have some signatures of watercolor paper that we can paint. And so these, I've just done the watercolor paper, but you can do varieties of papers attached with that 3-hole stitch. And you could do this, could be a junk journal, you could do a variety of papers. I just wanted to give you lots of ideas in this class on how you could use different book covers to create things. And then stitching shows up there on the outside. And so that is our lovely vintage book journal. So that is the journals that we're creating here in this second class. And I thought that we could jump right in and start painting in one of these today. So I'm going to get some paint out and I'll be right back. All right, I've opened to the center of the book, and I have people all the time ask me, why do you start in the center of the book? And just in case I mess up, then that's not the first page. I still don't want to mess up, just like you don't want to mess up. And so I'm kind of thinking in my mind, you know, if it's something that I started further back, then if I mess it up, I'm okay with that, because it's not the very first page in there, and I can always gesso over it and paint it again. It's not like it's permanent the way it is, but that's kind of why I do that. And I picked a color palette card. I thought we'd do a color palette challenge today. This is card 344 out of my Color Cube number 2 by Sarah Renee Clark. And I picked this one because it kind of blended with the handmade paper that was over here on this side. And I thought, what a lovely companion set of colors that would go with this. And you know, I use these as an art tool, kind of a guide. Somebody said, oh, I don't really get the correlation of the card to whatever I painted. I use these to push me in a direction so that I'm not looking at all of the colors that I have and getting kind of paralyzed, thinking I don't even know where I want to go. I feel stuck. What colors could I add to that? I already know I wanted to use something in the ochre family, but what could I add to that to, you know, complement those colors and really expand and deepen the color palette that I might have come up with on my own. And so I already know that I love these yummy brighter colors. I really love, you know, this ochre, so I felt like this would be a fun one to be a companion to this. And I would like it to have taped edges, but you know, this is that cotty paper, which is super weird, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and chance it, and maybe I'll use my heat gun to pull the tape off so that maybe we won't tear the paper. Maybe I won't stick it down as hard. This is just artist tape. I like artist tape and painter's tape, but I really like that little bit of a white edge that piece that we have in here that's a little further back with the brown paper. I like that edge on that. So I think I'm going to do an edge. And I've got paper underneath, the deli paper underneath, kind of protecting those pages below what I'm painting, just so that maybe I won't paint all the other pages at the same time. Because I'm definitely messy and clumsy enough to do that. And I love tape because when you pull it, it just gives the whole piece a finish that sometimes you just don't get when it goes edge to edge. It's like my very favorite part of painting, which is why I like to do it. You know, if you like to do something, do more of that. That's kind of my philosophy there, and that's my favorite part, is pulling the tape and going, oh, it's finished, rather than it going to the edge and me thinking, is it finished? So we'll just be careful. The cotty paper's weird. It's not paper that, you know, I would normally gravitate towards if I were painting regular paintings, but it's definitely a lovely one to paint on in a big book because it's economical and it's good for mixed media. And I'm kind of feeling like maybe we could start with one of our big block things that I haven't had out in a while. Maybe we'll do this one. This is like a great big pencil. This is the Derwent. Which one is this? This is the extra large graphite set. And they've got 4 sets, but 2 are the older sets and 2 are the newer sets. They got 2 charcoals and 2 graphites. This is the extra large graphite, so it may or may not be the new set. I don't remember. And I'm just going to get it started. And you know, this is kind of powdery, and because this is in my sketchbook, you know, normally I wouldn't use something that gets kind of powdery, but I'm going to paint on top of it. This is my initial marks that kind of gets me started. We may or may not see them later, but it gets you past blank page paralysis, gets you kind of warmed up and mark making and doing some stuff. And this stuff's water soluble, so we could get a paintbrush out and add some water to it if we wanted to squish that around. Which I'm glad I did that. Look at that. Whoa! Already seeing some good stuff. All right, feeling like a good paint day. Oh, I like it. All right, so let's go ahead. Got that. Kind of want, where's my 14B? Oh, yeah. This is my 14B Pitt Matte Graphite Pencil. I love it. And it might be kind of nice just to come in and maybe do some mark making underneath still. Just kind of testing and playing out here. You know, it's been a while since I have painted in my book here because I've actually made 4 book workshops. book workshop number 3, we get into fabric covers. And book workshop number 4, we dive a little deeper into fabric covers, and I got some fun techniques and resources to share with you. So that's coming up. They're scheduled in the pipeline. This workshop with these books just came out about a week ago, and I just wanted to dive in with you guys and start painting in the new book that I created, because if you make it and you make it too precious and you don't paint in it fairly quickly, you may just savor it and put it on your shelf and never use it, and that would be a shame. And if you're going to be too precious about it, like if you're like, you make it and you're like, I don't think I could ever paint in this, my secret to that is make a bunch of them, and then you can pick one to not be the precious one. That's what I've done. I have literally made like 20 books now that I've been on a bookmaking kind of tear, and I have enjoyed making the workshops because it gave me kind of a purpose to be creating with you guys. And man, I can't even tell you how much joy I get looking at the bookshelf where I have all of these sitting. Okay, let's open this. New color. This is the gray I just put out. These are the Blick matte paints. I like these because they're easy to work with. I could just take the lids off these. Let's just do that. So this is a silver metallic, which was kind of that gray color because there's not really a gray in these paints. This is yellow orange medium, which to me looks like an ochre. This one is beige because it looks kind of like that beige right here. This one I'm kind of off on this color, so I might trade it out, but this is red deep, which kind of looks like that to me. Let's just keep it. We'll just keep it. And then this one I have pulled blue red medium, which is a kind of muted pinky color. So we're not like exacty on the colors, but we're very close, and it got us into a color palette, which is what I like about that. Because I gotta tell you, the color picking, because I like all the colors, the color picking sometimes can be the hardest of everything that you do. Okay, I want a paintbrush. I want a filbert. Let me grab a filbert. Okay, I'm just gonna grab a filbert. This is my Princeton filbert. 1/2 inch, and I'm going to start doing a little painting on here, and then possibly a little stencil work. Kind of got something in my mind, so let's just start off. I also like working with gesso with these paints because gesso kind of makes them where you can put more stuff on top of them, and it makes them more spreadable. So let's go ahead and get this out, and we'll use that on our palette paper. And white gesso. I like white gesso in the place of white paint. So even though I pick colors, I always let white and black be my neutrals. So just because I haven't pulled white and black in my palette, still reserve the right to use white and black to sometimes be the extra bit of contrast that maybe you need. But the gray could be that's kind of a blackish gray. So this is that beige kind of mixed in with white gesso, and I'm just going to paint intuitively and create myself an abstract today. Okay, so I like that. Oh, this is super watery. Look at that. And we dotted our paper. Where's my rack? Here we go. And I dotted my handmade paper over here. So that might have a yellow splot in it now. Okay, I feel like this one needed to be shook up. If you're going to be doing something like this and you absolutely don't want to mess up one side, and now that I've put something on that one side, I might go ahead, I might let that dry, but I might go ahead and paint a little bit on it because this one got super thick. But I might paint on it because I already got something on it, or I might let it dry and see what it does. So we'll just see what that does. And sometimes, you know, when I'm putting paint on, I am being kind of intuitive, but because I'm doing a whole sheet that I'm not necessarily going to cut up, because you know I like to cut up stuff. I am considering composition quite a bit when I'm applying sometimes. So today I'm thinking composition. I'm not putting something dead in the center. I'm working off kind of to the left, to the right, a little above and below for some focal things that can just drive the eye around the piece. Ooh, I'm feeling that. Let's throw this one in the water because I got paint all over that brush and pull another filbert. Somebody asked me this week, how do I clean my brushes and get those filberts shaped back to their shape? And I don't. I abuse all my brushes and I don't get precious about them on purpose because I don't want to limit myself with the fear of ruining an art tool. So that's why you see me kind of just batter and really use the brushes in a way that you might make you cringe, but I don't want to limit my creativity and the things that I allow myself to do by the fear of a tool limitation or, oh, I don't want to ruin that brush or what have you. So I choose to not be precious about the tools for that reason. I don't want to get hung up on the care and the maintenance of a tool necessarily. If I want to have a good filbert for something that I paint that I need it to be nicer, then I won't use it in my mixed media painting. So that's kind of the choice that I make when I'm doing stuff like this. I choose to not be precious about my tools. I dip into paint and contaminate some of them. I have brushes that are ones that I don't mind beating up when I paint, and so I just want you to kind of consider that. If you're afraid to use a brush and you can't get it back to the way of how you bought it, you know, maybe that's the wrong tool to be experimenting with on stuff like this, because the fear of what you're doing to that tool is going to hold back the creativity that you're holding yourself back that day. I don't want to do that. So buy cheap brushes if you're not wanting to mess a brush up or something there, you know, as you're going. Okay, I'm really loving that. Kind of thinking, because I wanted to do, you know, these Sean Petite stencils. I hadn't really used them all that much. And I love this one. And I kind of wanted to use this one, which if I determine, you know, that I have ruined this with that splot of paint on there, I could do the stencil on this side also. Matter of fact, you know what? Let's just do it. But the thing is I saw on this side, let's just do it. I didn't plan on painting the painted page, but I saw on this side it went through with that wet, and that could have been paint or it could have been that paper. So I think what I'm going to do, and that doesn't matter because that's the watercolor paper. I can paint on that later now that I'm spreading whatever that was. We could put this on here. And I'm just going to fold this under so it's not in the way of all this paint. Let me tell you, I'm the messiest person sometimes. Ooh, and I got pink paint on there. It's not dry. All right, where'd my bull clip go? Come on, little clip. Where are you hiding? There it is. Okay, so feeling like it's going to go all the way through. I don't have gesso on here. I could gesso this and that will keep whatever we do on the top, but I'm almost wanting to see what this looks like on the back side if I let it sink through. And so for this one, I'm going to do it this way. And I'm kind of thinking, what if we did yellow on yellow, since I already got this yellow out here, and I can add some more. But what if we did like that yellow on yellow? Let's see what that does. Just something slight. Oh yeah, that might. And kind of, you know, mask what we had going on there. So let me put some more of this paint out. And I'm almost afraid to tear the paper, and at the same time I want that to kind of stay where it's at. So let's see if we can careful. So this is Moroccan Tile number 3 by Sean Petit that I'm using, and it's the most beautiful tile. And had somebody in my group questioning when she was doing her stencil why the stencil underneath, why the paint still went up underneath and did not give her clear edges. And so there's a new stencil tools and techniques video that Mary Beth Shaw made from Stencil Girl, and so I will link that video below. And it kind of goes over different tools. I use these little artist sponges, which is definitely not one of the ones that she has in her little tool chest of really good tools for stencil work, but it's one that I'm used to and kind of like, and it doesn't bother me if my stencil's messy because I kind of have different things I can do on top of it, like pastels and stuff. Let's see, did I get it all? Yeah, pretty much, except right there is some staining. So we might not cover that stain up. That might be something that I later stick a pocket on top of, or a tip in on top of. I don't know, let's see. We'll decide. So anyway, she's talking about different tools and stuff for really getting good stencil work, and she said about 100% of the time when your stencil is getting stuff underneath it, it's because you have too much paint. And I'm like, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. Too much paint is why it tips underneath it. So if you're not getting clear marks and lines and stencils, then you may just be using too much paint. It needs to be kind of dry paint on a dry tool to get the best results. But I'll link that video below. It's very, very enlightening. I think you'll really love seeing some basics if you're not getting the results that you want. So I like how thick that is. I feel like I did not do that up here. Let's just come back up here. We'll see how close I can get, and maybe do some thicker. That is not a well mixed pot of paint, so that's okay. It's gonna kind of maybe now look like an aged wall. I'm hoping like an aged Moroccan tile wall, since I've got this doing funky stuff. Let's see what that did. Look at that. Whoa! So now the little stain of the paint underneath it kind of goes in with what we just did. Whoa. Okay. And I'm kind of wanting to do that over here, but maybe with gray paint instead of the yellow. Or do we want to do the yellow? Do we love that so much that we want to do the yellow? What do you think? That wasn't the direction I was thinking, but I'm thinking that's the direction we're going to go anyway. Why not? Because that right there was pretty. All right, let's just keep on going with the paint here. That's apparently not a new tube. I must have had that for a while because it's doing funky stuff. And instead of doing like all of it, completely all of it, and it's not completely dry, so I'm going to do my best I can. We may get some paint blending. I'm going to do it here and there rather than completely exactly like the stencil. Like I did the whole stencil here, but the paint being different thicknesses or different, less liquid. I don't know. It's giving me some really cool pattern there. So I kind of want to maybe continue that and it not be solid. All right, what do you think we got? Let's pick it up and just glance at. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, let me take this. Look at that. And I'm going to kind of do it right here. Try to match it up kind of to kind of keep going, or not. We're going to keep going, but I might not have matched it up very well. But I like it because it kind of has an edge off there for the bottom. See, I was kind of thinking gray, but now that I've done this yellow, I'm definitely feeling that that was fun. Okay, so this is one that we could take a piece of deli paper. Everybody likes to say, oh, I wish you had done it on the deli paper or done it on the page. So let's just go ahead and we can smooth this out on a piece of paper. And then this can be a kind of ghost print that we can use maybe in another book. And then I don't clean my stencils, I just keep painting on them. If you're going to clean them, just have like a pan of water sitting next to you. Yeah, that didn't do so much. Just have like a pan of water sitting next to you, and then you can just throw this in that pan of water until you can get to a sink. But I'm good with that. Look at that. Oh, now I'm thinking, do we get all the colors in there? Number one, we've done really good with our color challenge there. Kind of thinking, what else do I want? Let me think about this for a moment, and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so this one's not quite dry, it's almost dry, and this one's almost dry, but I'm kind of thinking this blended in so much that what if I did another thing on top of that, say maybe some gold. Kind of feeling like possibly some gold, and then it will have a little bit of shine. And so I'm gonna just pull out, now that I thought of that, let me just grab one of my heavy bodied golden paints. Let's just see which one we get here. Okay, iridescent bright gold. How about that? Let's just do it. Ooh, look at that color. It's kind of orangey. It's a little orangier, and I like it. Okay, let's just grab another sponge. And let's add another layer. And then at least if it's completely blended in, and I might not do like solid, like let's do here and there. So it might not, even if it didn't show up because it wasn't completely blended in like the other one, shows up, but it might not show up on camera. This will shine as we're moving the page. And so that will be an extra little delight that you get to see. And then the underneath layer will just be that. It'd be a lovely underneath layer. Okay, a little more and I'll move that stencil. I kind of like having the tape in the top, because then you could at least maybe have the chance to pick it up and look at it. Oh, that was it. That was it. Can you see that shine? Oh, look at that. Okay, let's do that down here. And again, I'm not worried about getting it exact. Probably going to try not to at least smush the gold we just did. How far down? We came down to about right there. And I'll just add some more down here to give me a finish to this page. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see what we got there. Did we do okay? Yeah. Now I'm kind of thinking maybe we should have offset a layer of that over here in the gold. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Okay, let me put some more of that paint out. You know what might be really pretty if that were more like a silver or like a rose gold, but that's okay. We'll take it like we got it. I could kind of, you know what I could do? Let's just look at this. No, I'm feeling gold. Let's just do gold. I was about to say what I could do is try to mix some of this paint into that, but I think I'm feeling gold. It's offset a little bit from the stencil underneath, so the stencil underneath can be like shadow, like a shadow bit, or we could be completely ruining it. And in that case, there's always gesso, and we can gesso right on top of it, and we can do it again, or we can do something different. So don't fret about something not turning out perfect. There's always a creative solution that can be had. Okay, let's see. Did I get enough? Oh yeah, fun. It is offset a bit. Might be offset enough to maybe not look like I want, but I'm okay with that. We'll evaluate it here in a bit. You know what else we might could do? Oh my gosh, this might be a 2-hour video. What we might could do, okay, I'm loving that. And we'll set this to the side and maybe squish this between, I'll set it on this one. Let's squish it between some papers and that'll get some paint off. Okay, so what we might could do is we could come back with some white paint, kind of off, you know, kind of with like a palette knife. And we could make it look like a gesso wall on top of it. I don't know if I'm explaining that really well. Let me see here. Kind of thinking, let's do the white gesso. Let's get this back out. Could do it with, because this is still not completely dry. Let's do it anyway. I could do it with a catalyst tool or something like that, but I'm kind of thinking, see, now this is the weird part about the Cotty paper. It's not flat when you're working it. It does eventually flatten out, but it's kind of hard to scrape stuff across it. And it's a weird texture. It's not like regular watercolor paper. That's why I kind of like it good for mixed media stuff like I'm doing. And I like it because it's economical when you're making a big book like this, but I would not say it's my most favorite paper. It's weird. You just need to get like one little bit of this paper and test it out to see if you're even going to like it. Because, you know, when I bought this paper, you know, last year, and I tested it out and I'm like, ooh, I think I'm going to like this paper. And then later I'm like, I don't think I like this paper at all. And then it lived in my closet for like a year. And then I pulled it back out and I'm like, I think I like this paper again. So really all over the place on this paper. But you know, when you're making your own book, you can make this be any paper that you want. It doesn't have to be the papers that I picked, which is what makes these so amazing and kind of specialized. Okay, so that's kind of different. Do I want to do any other stencil on top? I'm kind of considering. Maybe I do or maybe I don't. Maybe I want some mark making. That might be kind of nice to have a little bit of maybe some mark making on top of it. Could do some pastel work because I did that chalky stuff underneath. I did wet it down so it's not really going to bleed and affect some other stuff that we do, but if I needed to seal it off, then I would definitely use a fixative on it. And with that chalky stuff, I'd be using the soft pastel fixative. Take it outside and spray it and let that fix that down. So I'm kind of wondering, do I want to do anything else? I kind of wonder about maybe, let's look in these Sean Petite stencils and just see if there's something that I might want to do with the dark silvery gray color that I pulled out, because I feel like there's not the contrast. Let's just see what some of these other ones are. We could do some kind of botanical. Yeah, let's set this here. Let's see. Different. Ooh, that's kind of fun. Because I was kind of thinking circles or something like that. We got flowers, some kind of geometric. We got a bird. Got some flowers. That's not really Moroccan. Ooh, I do kind of like these flowers. Ooh, what about that? Okay. Okay, what about... Okay, let's get this paint out because I got it right here. What about if we do just some lovely little flowers here? Might not be dark enough, but we'll try. And you can draw them if you're a doodler. You could draw little flowers or something on your piece. I just like testing out all the fun little stencils and tools when I'm doing stuff in my sketchbooks because they're fun. Alright, let's see. Did that even show up? Oh, that is kind of fun. Okay, let's do it up here, and that way it's coming in from the other side also. And then for today, I might say this is where I want to end up. Oh, yeah. Oh, I like that. Okay, it's kind of busy, but I still like it. And I think this is kind of where I want to end up for today. And we got our little first layouts at least kind of started. And I'm going to dry this, and then I'm going to heat the tape, trying not to tear the paper. There we go, and it just lets the tape lift right off of there. Look at that! Oh my goodness! Look at that! Let's pull out these. Look at that! That's super fun! With our handmade paper beside it. Let's see, what have I done here? Oh, paper sticking. I'm like, why is this sticking? I have painted something that I didn't mean to paint. There we go. That'll be something that we paint in later. Okay, there we go. Look at that. Okay, kind of unusual, different, got a little abstract, got some lovely stencil work on top of our paper. So the stencil work itself did not go to the back side. Some paint that I apparently had on there did. But now I'm kind of feeling like, since I did so good with that, that when I get to this side, I might do another stencil on here and paint this with paint, because I'm kind of messy and I've already marked it up. But I definitely love what I've ended up with on this side, especially with the gold and the pretty abstract. So I hope you had fun painting with me today. That was a fun color challenge. I think I landed right on that color palette. Definitely come and check out the new workshop, From Scrap to Treasure, creating your own unique art journals. If you are interested in some of the lovely art journals that I showed you today, including these three here, in addition to the one where we have painted our very first layout in. Oh, it's super fun! And I'll see you guys next time.